Welcome to Empowered to Grow, the podcast. I am your host, Hanan Basha, the business doctor. Following our conversations with empowered women who woke up one day and consciously claimed, I am more than enough, I am worthy, I am empowered to grow. And along their empowering journey towards realizing their own potential and their quest for growth, they became a beacon of hope and guidance for others. May you also find your inner power to grow. Hello again, everyone, and welcome to the Unchartered Discussions episode of Empowered to Grow podcast. This is your host, Hanan Basha, and I still have the very impactful Dr. Jeanne Retief with me here. Hi, Dr. Jeanne.
Hi, it's so nice to be here.
Thank you. Well, we started talking in the first episode about my FIGGI life and how this came, your creation, how it came to life because you thought, okay, it came at a point where you weren't going through the best time of your life, but you have used it in such an empowering way. I mean, it's not just about skincare and about products, but you're also developed that into a podcast and kind of into a movement about finding your best life. Can you tell us a bit more about it and kind of the notion behind it?
Yeah. So I think when I founded FIGGI, like I said, I was in a really bad place. And one of the reasons why I decided when I was making these difficult decisions of how am I going to get my life back on track? How am I going to be in a better space? One of the main things and one of my main goals for my human rights consultancy was that I always wanted to do work that can make a practical impact. And I only took projects that I knew would make a practical impact, but it got harder and harder and harder because of all of the bureaucracy and the politics. And I was in a space where it was really difficult for me to understand what peace felt like to me and what peace meant to me. So I had to really unpack that. And while I was doing that, it came to me that I wanted to create this community because I know from my experience in human rights and mentoring, I'm not the only woman that feels this way. But we don't have the platform to say it. And many times we don't want to say it because we don't want to seem lesser than or not as capable as. So we needed a space where we could go to where it was okay not to be okay. And where you are not overwhelmed with all of this advice on how to live your life and how to be happy and why to be positive all the time. Just a space where you can just take a moment to breathe and just feel like life happens sometimes and it's okay.
Yeah. And this is it, I think, as you were saying, and I think you started that in the first episode when you said to give yourself permission to grow, to stop, to take a pause, to assess what's happening, and to address those things that I don't want to say you're unhappy about, but those things that you feel you could work on. Because I keep telling our son on a daily basis, he's 12. He's been hearing this for so many years. I just keep telling him, work to become the best version of yourself. Make yourself proud. And I think that for us is a notion that we lost along the years of how do I make myself proud if I've got bureaucracies I need to deal with, or if I'm doing work I'm not happy with, or if I'm in a relationship I feel stuck, or if I'm just thinking about paying the bills. How do I stop and give myself the grace and the permission to take care of me along the way? And I believe that's where we have the alignment of saying, you can do that. It doesn't have to be humongous act. It's just one small thing at a time, even if it is just taking care of your skin and kind of taking care of yourself and taking some time out.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, for me, it was very much kind of a soul crisis as well, because there were a lot of deeper things that I needed to deal with and to find a balance in and to find some kind of peaceful common ground. And when it comes back to self-care, I think we oftentimes don't do it because we feel we have so many other people to look after.
Yes.
And I personally think people misunderstand the concept of self-care. It isn't really self-care. To me, it's more like um, having respect for others that you share your space with. That's really what it is,
I
because
love
when you
that.
don't look after yourself and you're tired and you're more frustrated and you're more irritated, it's the other people in your life that share that energy with
Yes.
you. So, you know, you're not just doing it for yourself, you're also doing it for the people that you share your environment with.
I love that. Communal care rather than self-care.
Yes. Yes.
Because that's my story. And I think that is one of the fundamental things that got me going, is like I've always deprioritized. I had always deprioritized myself along the list of priorities and list of responsibilities and what needed to be taken care of. And
Yeah.
I found that, I was just becoming angry and resentful and
Mhm.
kind of just with a very, very short fuse. And I realized I don't want to live my life like this. My son doesn't deserve it. My husband doesn't deserve it. My family, everyone else in my surrounding, rather than being the person before that phase that's always smiling, that always brings in joy. I did not want to be that. I didn't want to be distributing, as you said, kind of that negativity all around me all the time. And I can only do that I can only flip that around by taking care of me. And by saying, by prioritizing me, that's not selfish. That's not conceited. That's not self-centered. That's actually how I can spread the positive impact ripple effect. By taking care of me, I
Yeah.
saw the impact in our son, in my husband, in my relationship since then.
Yeah.
And that is exactly it. We don't see that enough. Or I also want to say we're not conditioned to see that, because that's not how we were raised.
Yeah, that's so true. And the thing is, just if you start to do it and to see it this way, it's also what you teach, because my little girl is 5 years old, and I will tell her, you know, this is mommy's time to meditate. You're welcome to sit next to me and hold my hand or meditate with me. And they learn from that. You know, she will
That's
come
true.
to me and say, I just want some time alone, or I just want to relax on my own a little bit. So they also learn, and you teach them that it's okay to look after yourself and it's
Yeah,
okay to take moments for yourself. And, you know, I just think in our generation, we weren't raised like that.
that's true.
You know, many times it was seen as selfish to do that, because you're always having to give back to others. The thing is just that you cannot give something that you do not own. So if you're empty, there's
Yes,
nothing
that's it.
to give.
That's it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. Okay, so back to FIGGI and
Yeah.
the ethos. Let's talk about the ethos and let's talk about the applications of it. What's your vision about it? Kind of how do you see it growing?
So figgy is really, my favorite fruit is a fig. And when I
Okay.
was thinking of the name, I started playing around with the word and I was like, oh, figgy is such a cute name. And then I researched the symbolic meaning of the fig, and it is the symbol for coming together and knowing that we are all on a similar path and no man is an
Nice.
island or woman. So I just felt like that was divine intervention, because that really is my vision for FIGGI. I really want to create a community where it's okay for women to come and have a sacred space where they can just unload and feel as good or as bad as they want for that moment
Mhm.
and get through that. And that's why I created the skincare, because I want to create products that can help them achieve this. And when I was going through my worst, when I founded FIGGI, I've always had sensitive skin, but my panic disorder makes it a lot worse.
Yeah, it
And we
flares
had
up,
just
right?
yeah. And we had just immigrated to a new country. So it was new water, new food, new products.
Mhm.
And I was just at such a low. And I remember thinking, can just one thing go right or feel good or feel right? And I thought, okay, my skin, because I'm so aware of it. I'm
Yeah.
so aware that it doesn't feel good. I'm so aware of the fact that it's itchy and scratchy and burning. So I can't find products that I can use. So I'm just going to make my own. And
I
that's
love
how
that.
the hair
I
came
love that.
about. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a beautiful thing, as you said. It's let me start with the most pain I have, and I'm sure others are going to have it too. And let me sort that out, and then look at what's next. And I think Dean Graziosi and Tony Robbins, I'm a huge student of theirs, and they talk about turning your mess into your message. And just by looking at what's, what is the most pain for me and how can I deal with it, that in itself is how you're empowering others, by creating the space for them, by saying, I moved to a new country, I needed the support, I need a safe space to even not feel good in it, and that's okay.
Yeah. And I think the other part of the skincare is just, it's such a minimalist approach, because with sensitive skin, it's always best to go back to the pure basics.
Yeah.
And always when we're making a change in our life, for me, it's always good to start small. It's when we're committing to these grandiose things that things tend to derail. So taking a minute to massage your face while you cleanse it is a lot more than doing nothing for yourself. And I really wanted to have women using this feel like they're special and they belong. So every product has the quote that says, everyone deserves to celebrate the goddess within. And every product is named, purify the goddess, refresh the goddess, because we all have goddess energy. And sometimes we just need a reminder that even though we may feel as low as can be, it's okay. There is another tomorrow and we can try again.
I love that. And I love that, this is such a high note. I know we can be talking about this for a few hours, but this is such a high note. And I know I'll wrap up the conversation here. And it is about, there is a tomorrow, and you do have a goddess within you. And I think it is recognizing that to start with, and then taking the small step tomorrow to start saying, how can I take care of her today? And then tomorrow, and then the day after tomorrow. And it is the incremental impact of those small steps is just humongous. And we underappreciate it a lot as well.
Yeah, sadly we do.
Jeanne, thank you so much. This has been a pleasure. And, I can't wait to see the humongous positive impact ripple effect that you are going to create around the world, because, this is, again, where we have alignment, is creating those safe spaces for women to come together and say, this is how I'm feeling, this is how I need support, this is, what I want to do with my life, and to be celebrated for everything, and to be able to say, we can do this together.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you for having me on the podcast. It was so nice to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a pleasure. So I'm going to kind of wrap up with what Jeanne just said. So celebrate the goddess within you, and see her, feel her, appreciate her, respect her and you, because you are a goddess. As always, wishing you love, abundance, and prosperity, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now. Thank you for listening to the Empowered to Grow podcast. For further engagement with a tribe of empowered women, join my Facebook group, Empowered to Grow, or visit my website, www.hananelbasha.com. I'll catch you on the next episode. And until then, know that empowered you empowers others. Love, abundance, and prosperity to you all.